If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also, go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new songs in the description. Mr. Kanye West released a video to his YouTube channel called Last Week yesterday, and it's going pretty, I wouldn't say viral, but it's going pretty big so far. A lot of people are, watching this and picking out different stuff from the entire video. It's about half an hour in length, and it basically documents his last week, as the title says, so it can be seen as somewhat of a vlog. And I watched this thing, I broke down everything that happened in there, trying to give y'all the clearest information that we have on each individual phase that we see in this video. So let's break this down. Let's also see what we can learn about new music, for example, from this and other ventures that Kanye is doing. So let's analyze this. So it starts off with a video of a Yeezy video game. And this footage of the video game actually leaked a couple of weeks ago earlier, but we don't know anything more about this. It's a GTA style game, but there's no more than the trailer we already got, so it's kind of weird that he put this in here. There are a couple of people who seem to know more about this. It's by a Japanese video game developer. If you have any information on this, make sure to let all the fans know in the comments down below. After that, the scene immediately cuts to him playing new snippets in the car. And these snippets are pretty funny because they're name dropping, for example, Drake, Lil Baby, Future, and Moneybagg Yo. And the funny part about this is that at the end of this clip, he says the people need this. So there is a possibility that this music, this new snippet that he released there, might actually be coming to streaming platforms, or at least be released as somewhat of a special thing, maybe over the stem player, who knows. But it's going to be released, and it's going to be out there, very likely, because he said the people need this, and usually artists say that when they want something to be heard by the public. So we can actually expect some new Kanye, which I think is pretty good news. After that, it cuts to him sitting at a table with a guy that owns a company that does clothing, and Kanye intends to buy this new company, likely to have it under Yeezy and to use their technology with, certain designs. They talked about socks and underwear. Apparently they're doing some great, material that Yeezy didn't have before, and Kanye wants to buy the company. And so this maybe also hints at new Yeezy stuff coming out after they've obviously canceled their deal with the Gap. It then cuts to another scene in a car where Kanye is watching a video from a company called Allegria Nutrient Dense Food. So they're doing, just solving some sort of problem with nutrient density in foods. Now this had me somewhat confused because I don't know if Kanye intends to go into the whole, designing food type of way, but this just to me was again a sign that Kanye is looking at like very big problems. Like he's looking at like, okay, how can we solve people not having access to nutrient dense food, and then trying to, look at startups that are maybe already doing this. I just thought it was like yet another display of his character and like the big problems he's really trying to solve. And after that in the car, he's playing some Donda 2, like some Donda 2 with actually new features and new snippets on there that we haven't heard before. So from this, and I know this is kind of a far-fetched idea, I will make an individual video dedicated to this alone, but there is a possibility that Donda 2 will actually come out on streaming finally, eventually, after him still playing it now with new features on this new thing. For example, we heard the Draco, the Soulja Boy verse on here finally. We heard another version of Sci-Fi on here. So stuff really seems to just be clicking with Donda 2 now apparently nearing its completion. He also played it multiple times, so as I said, just a possibility that something is coming. Later on in the video, I want to kind of forecast this already. He's also talking about renting a stadium, so maybe more listening parties and an eventual release of the entire thing on streaming. After this, the infamous clip that has been going around all over social media appears, where Kanye is at a meeting with some Adidas executives and showing them porn. He's showing them porn, talking about, how the guy in the movie has a similar voice to someone that they're dealing with. Really weird scene, and you probably saw it all over the internet, but it's in this little, video that he dropped. He kind of disses these executives for for making Yeezy derivatives, for stealing his designs. He's going, to beef with Adidas now after already canceling the deal with the Gap. He's threatening them with war, which might have been, hints at some of the other stuff that he said in the past couple of days. Also, the first screen of this last week video is just war. So apparently maybe he's doing this whole thing just to spite Adidas, which would be very vengeful and in a way very petty, but I definitely see Kanye doing this. He also talks about his army being prepared for this war, listing people like Baby Keem and Kendrick Lamar. It seemed really weird. It seemed like he was in his own zone, like completely oblivious to what's happening and just, living in his own little world. We're gonna have to wait and see if he actually goes to war with Adidas, but he's threatening them with it because they're stealing his designs. And I can feel the frustration. I would feel the same way. I'm just not sure if this is all a bit overblown by what Kanye is saying, but we're going to have to wait and see how that turns out. After that, he talks about dawn-defying a school. Now, dawn-defying means, for example, that there are no stairs but rather ramps, that there's only natural lighting, so no artificial lighting, that there's only natural air, so no AC, and that there's no like metal bars that you can like hold on to when climbing upstairs. And he talks about the Yeezy campus again. He talks about creating the Yeezy campus, and in that sense, dawn-defying the school. I just thought it's funny that dawn-defying has already become a word in Kanye's vocabulary to the extent that he talks about renovating a school with it. The whole video is shot in this, like, it's not even a fisheye lens. It's like really just like an eye. Around it is a black, just black screen, and in the middle we have a circle through which we can see the entire thing, the entire video, in like a very retro style filter. So this is like a very interesting artistic decision to go with this type of filter and to go with this type of camera setup for it. Just something I wanted to throw in there because maybe, people can get some sort of value out of this in terms of, oh, that means he's going in that direction artistically or whatever. So if you have any theories about that, please let me know in the comments down below. Then I think something really interesting happens. He's again at this place, dawn-defying the school, but he gets very introspective. And this is something that I, watched and I was like, okay, wow, I did not expect this. He talks about that he knows he's truthful, but what he's lacking is kindness. And then the really interesting words and interesting questions that he asked one of his coworkers was, how do I grow my kindness? That is what I really need. And to hear that from Kanye is incredible. I at some point I always feel like this dude is completely lost, and I'm a big fan, but I can't always support everything he does. But with introspective stuff like this, he shows that he still cares about what he does and that he's not just some cold block that's completely lost, the touch with reality. So this really showed to me, okay, he can get introspective and he can actually reflect on his own actions. After this, though, immediately he jumps into some new innovative ideas for school bags where you can take the school bag and then also sit on it. I thought that was genius. Sometimes Kanye has these ideas and I'm just like, wow, just do it. People would love that. And especially dawn-defying Yeezy campus with these school bags would be dope. So some of the ideas are, amazing, insane. So shout out to Kanye, man. He's always a creative genius. He then also talks about some new Yeezy designs, and we can see some new Yeezy designs as well. And then something very interesting also happens because he talks about his projects working without him being the center of the news. So at some point, he's always in the news. He always gets attention for his projects, all of that. Y'all know Kanye, that's his whole identity. But now he's talking about, okay, maybe my projects can work without me always being the attention and the center of the attention. And maybe that's also somewhat of a sign that he'll step a step back. He'll be like, okay, now I've gathered enough attention for this all to work out, for Yeezy, for Dawn the 2, for the Yeezy campus, for whatever we're trying to do with, that nutrient-dense food, whatever, the video game as well. And maybe now can take a step back and just let it all run smoothly, just like any other CEO would. At the end, he also talks about creating an ecosystem of cotton farms and mushroom farms and schools, and also to achieve $20 clothing. So again, going in the same direction that the Gap and Yeezy deal already went in. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I love when people think this big. I already said it with the nutrient-dense food. When he's like, okay, we got to get $20 clothing. We got to get Yeezy down to $20 so everybody can afford it. And it's not like this quote-unquote high fashion brand that it has become, through all the hype. At the end of the video, we can see him go to North's, so his, kids' basketball game and support her there. Kim was also there, so the last like 5 to 10 minutes in this video are just him spending time with his family, which I also thought was beautiful, that he still finds time to attend these important games and important events in his children's lives. Now, of course, I got a couple of key points that I took from this entire video. First of all, this was somewhat of a vlog. It was titled Last Week, and in it, the entire last week, the events that happened in Kanye's life, got kind of like broken down, and we get a half-hour vlog. Maybe we'll get this more often. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up that we're getting Kanye West vlogs, but it could definitely happen. Next week we get another one that's called Last Week, and it would just be about this week. So it kind of like take it with a grain of salt, but I thought it was something to definitely consider because that, he hasn't done anything like that before. Also, what I already talked about is, did he make this entire video just to spite Adidas? It's titled War. He's talked about the term war so much on social media over the past couple of days, especially on Instagram. So I don't know, maybe he's doing this whole thing just to spite Adidas for copying his designs, which would be very petty, but we're gonna have to wait and see what actually turns out with that one. And lastly, I want to touch on, the difficulty of being a Kanye fan. I will definitely make an entire video on this, just kind of like covering everything more in detail, but I want to be on board with him so bad. I want to support him in everything he's doing because I think he's tackling some very important issues. But it's so hard kind of like, standing behind everything he does. He just also got taken down from Instagram and Twitter after his tweet about Jewish people, which I completely understand the measures that the platforms took. But I can definitely also see the point of like, you only want what you want on this platform and there's no free speech and stuff like that. I can definitely see different elements. Also the White Lives Matter thing, of course, the t-shirt. It's like, sometimes it's very hard to support the guy, but I believe he has very good intentions, and stuff like him asking, how can I grow my kindness? That is what I really need. Show me that there's definitely someone underneath that Kanye West mask that is very, very aware of what he's doing and that just wants the best for the world. Sometimes maybe the means and the tools to achieve this are not that well received by the public. We're going to have to wait and see how all of this plays out. We're going to have to wait and see how the whole ban from Instagram and Twitter is going to work out. But it's definitely an interesting time to be a Kanye fan, even though sometimes it's very hard. And I'm hoping that we get more videos like this. Let me know what you thought about this whole last week vlog that we got from Kanye. Do you think we'll get this more often? Do you think that the stuff that he's done in there is I think it was a lot for a week, going over music, about schools, about fashion, about nutrient-dense food, whatever. Still finding time for his family, definitely amazing. Let me know what you think about all the different ideas he's expressed in there and which ones you think will be the most successful. All your thoughts and theories on this, please let me know in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and y'all take care.